Hey guys, welcome to BSNN 7. It's Bella here.
The story of vaccines did not begin with the first vaccine, which was created by Edward Jenner. It begins with a long history of infectious disease in humans, in particular with early use of smallpox material to provide immunity to that disease. Evidence exists that the Chinese employed smallpox shots as early as 1000 CE. It was also practiced in Africa and Turkey before it spread to Europe and the Americas. Edward Jenner's innovations began with his successful use of cowpox material to create immunity to smallpox in 1796. His practice quickly spread, and his method underwent medical and technological changes over the next 200 years. Eventually, it resulted in the eradication of smallpox.
Do you know what a vaccine is?
Yeah, I think I do. You get a vaccine so you don't get sick, right?
So, Ely, you're right. You do get vaccines to prevent sickness.
But a vaccine is a substance used to stimulate the production of antibodies and provide immunity against one or several diseases.
Hunter, do you know if the ingredients of vaccines are harmful?
I don't, but let's take it back to Bella.
No, guys, vaccines aren't harmful. The ingredients in them are pretty safe. Since millions of people are given vaccines each year, this means that regulations go into making the vaccines. Some of the main ingredients in vaccines would include antibiotics, egg proteins, aluminum, and formaldehyde. Aluminum is used, it's in either gel or salt form, and it's used to help the vaccine stimulate better response. And then formaldehyde is an inactive bacterial product for vaccines. This also helps kill unwanted viruses in the body and bacteria that might contaminate the vaccines during production. Most of the formaldehyde is removed before it's packaged and actually given and used to people, on people. So that's the main concern in vaccines, is that formaldehyde is in there, but you have to have a super high dosage in order to harm you. And it's taken out when the vaccine's actually distributed. The other thing with that is children are also exposed to more aluminum in breast milk and infant formula than vaccines. So this means that there's lower amounts of aluminum in a vaccine than in breast milk, which is obviously safe for babies to drink and stuff.
Ely, do you know what herd immunity is?
I have no idea.
Okay, guys, that's a really good question. Herd immunity is the resistance to the spread of contagious diseases within a population. This means that when people are getting vaccinated and stuff, for example, like chickenpox, we'll say, since a bunch of people get vaccines for that, chickenpox is less likely to spread to people because people get vaccinated from it. The other thing with herd immunity is that it protects people who can't get vaccinated, because some people are allergic to eggs and the things that are in vaccines, so they're just not able to get vaccinated. So this helps for them to not get sick if everyone's getting vaccinated besides people that can't. For example, babies, they can't get vaccinated, so if everyone else around them is getting vaccinated, then the babies will have a less chance of getting sick. Yeah, and then people with cancer and HIV as well, their immunity is kind of suppressed, so they can't usually get vaccines. So if everyone else around them is getting vaccines, then it's less likely for them to get a disease that can cause issues with them.
Don't diseases just disappear on Earth?
No, that's just a misconception.
Some people do believe that diseases like polio and chickenpox have actually disappeared from the U.S., so people stop vaccinating. However, this is not the case with polio. Polio is widespread in other parts of the country and could very easily reinfect people, unprotected people, if it were reintroduced into the country. So people that can't get vaccinated and stuff, like people that are allergic, whatever that I talked about before, they could get chickenpox or polio because they can't get vaccinated. Another example would be the measles. The U.S. outbreaks occur when Americans traveling to other countries where measles are widespread brings back the disease back with them. Early 2000s, low vaccine rates in England allowed there to be an epidemic of measles. So that's just an example of that you need to get vaccinated in order to make sure that those diseases that we actually can control and protect from people from getting them are you're actually getting the vaccines for it, just to protect the other people that can't, and also just the country in general.
Doesn't getting more than one vaccine at once be harmful to your body?
I have no clue. We'll go back to Bella.
That is actually another misconception you guys pointed out. A lot of people do think that when you get vaccinated, the people that are getting vaccinated get more sick, or more people will be sick because they're vaccinated. And I just want to point out that vaccines are not 100% effective. They don't always work, but they are pretty close to being effective. They're more effective than not getting vaccinated. The reason for that is because everybody's immune system is different. So the vaccines affect people differently. Another reason would be due to the vaccines not being new enough. For example, the flu. The flu is constantly changing. It's a virus that's always changing and making alterations within itself. So it's sometimes harder to predict what that flu virus will look like. So it's not always 100% effective. Some years are better than others with the flu vaccine. Among adults who were admitted to the hospital with the flu, vaccinated adults were 59% less likely to have severe illnesses resulting in ICU admissions, those who had not been, compared to those who had not been vaccinated. Among adults in the ICU with the flu, vaccinated patients on average spent 4 fewer days in the hospital than those who were not vaccinated previously. So that just means, it goes to show you that vaccines are effective and definitely needed.
In 1905, a Massachusetts law allowed cities to require residents to be vaccinated against smallpox. This led to Jacobson v. Massachusetts. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld in Cambridge, Massachusetts Board of Health's authority to require vaccination against smallpox during a smallpox epidemic. Henning Jacobson refused vaccination, claiming that he and his son had bad reactions to earlier vaccinations. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court found it unnecessary to worry about any possible harm from vaccination because no one could actually be forced to be vaccinated. They said that if a person should deem it important that vaccination should not be performed in his case, and the authorities should think otherwise, it is not in their power to vaccinate him by force. And the worst that could happen to him under the statute would be a payment of $5, which is around $100 today. When Jacobson was fined, he appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, who had no difficulty upholding the state's power to grant the Board of Health authority to order a general vaccination program during an epidemic. The court ruled in favor of Massachusetts, saying that the law was a legitimate exercise of the state's police power to protect the public health and safety of its citizens.
Some people that don't agree with vaccinations won't get them because of personal beliefs, such as religion. Others might be at a high risk for an allergic reaction if they get vaccinated, making them not get the vaccination. Some people might also believe that the MMR vaccination can cause autism, but there are numerous studies done that show that this is not the case. The ingredients in the vaccinations don't cause autism. Some people won't get a vaccination because it makes them sick, but that is not the case. There are multiple different strains of the flu, meaning that the vaccination might not protect you from all of them. Another reason people might not get vaccinated is because they simply don't trust the science. Getting vaccinated can save lives, and there aren't any real reasons not to get them unless you have a health condition or religious belief that says otherwise.